Good morning, everyone. This is Megan from GoGPS, and today I'm going to show you how to use the Drive app from GeoTab. So what you're seeing here on my screen is the login for the app GeoTab Drive. Okay, so today we're going to be focusing on looking at my user and my database and all that information that comes through when I do logs. So what we're seeing here is my username to log into the system, and it says via GoGPS. Now, yours is going to want to say the name of your database. So if you hit the options button here at the top right corner, it gives you the option to type in the name of your database. This just allows you to make sure that it's a nice, smooth, clean login and it's going to the proper database. If it does not have the database name there, at least the first time as a new driver, it will, in most cases, not allow you to attach and go to a database. So we just want to make sure that you are choosing the proper database. You do not need to put in your server name. That is not optional, that it is optional. You don't have to put it in, but you do require to put in your database name. That being said, if you are consistently using the Drive app to log your HOS and DVIRs, the system will remember your credentials when you log in. Okay, so I'm going to hit the next button now, and it's going to prompt me to put in my password. Again, because I do a lot of testing with the ELD, hours of service, and DVIR, it already has my saved password. So from here, I'm just going to hit login, and it's going to start synchronizing my logs. Okay. Now, if you have the Drive app downloaded onto a smartphone or a tablet and you're out in a parking lot with a bunch of vehicles, it uses proximity. So it will find all of the vehicles that are close by to your location and give you a list of them. Now, because I'm doing this through the computer version, it's not going to be able to pull that information, but that's okay. I'm just going to click inside of this little search bar here. I'm going to hit the space bar, and it's going to give me a list of all of the vehicles in my fleet. Okay, so you're going to want to scroll down and then click on the name of your vehicle. Mine here is the Megan Journey. And it's going to, again, look for my logs, get all my information. I'll give it a second here. Then it's going to prompt me if I have any trailers that I want to attach. If I do, I can hit the Attach Trailer button, and it'll give me a list of the trailers that are available to me to attach, or I can hit Continue. For today's training, we're going to hit Continue. Okay, then it's going to prompt me to add attach shipments. If you don't have any shipments, you can just hit continue. If you do have a shipment or a shipment number, you can hit new shipment, put that information in. Okay, again, for training purposes, we're just going to hit continue. Okay, and now it's going to ask me to verify some of my logs. I have unverified HOS logs. Do I want to verify them? So I'm going to go ahead and say verify all my logs. I know that I'm the only one that drives this vehicle, so these are my logs. They're going to have to get assigned to myself. If you are sharing vehicles with multiple other drivers, so say somebody drives it in the morning, you drive it in the afternoon, and then somebody does it at night, you want to make sure that you're only assigning the logs that belong to yourself. If logs pop up and they do not belong to you, please hit skip. If they do belong to you, you will have to hit verify all days. Okay, so I know that these do belong to me, so I'm going to hit verify all days. Okay, so now it's going to prompt me and say that I'm going to certify these logs. So I hereby certify that my data entries and my record of duty status for each 24-hour listed period are true and correct. Okay, so this is true. I'm going to hit agree. Okay, so now it's going to go ahead and pop up the DVIR inspection. So it's asking me to certify the previous inspection, which again to the far left, we can see the name of the vehicle, the date and time of the last inspection. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to hit certify and inspect. And it's going to ask you to review the information that was done on the previous inspection. Okay, so we can see the company name. Mine's going to say GoGPS. Yours will say what your company name is. It'll say the date of the last inspection and the time, where the inspection was completed, the type of inspection, the type of vehicle, so whether it's a vehicle or a trailer or even a tractor, it could be any of those options, and then it was signed off by myself. Now, it could be that another user did the previous inspection, and it would say their name and their user login name. Okay. It also pulls out the odometer information with the license plate, trailer number, if there was any, and then again, my home terminal. If there was any kind of defect, it would say it up here in this top portion where it has inspection type and asset type. But because there are no defects, There's nothing really for me to kind of dig deeper into. If there was, I can take a look at what that defect was, say maybe it was a flat tire or maybe a crack in the windshield, and then I can add remarks into the system. So any remark or comment that you make inside of doing a DVIR or your HOS logs will also show up on the software portion of the system so that your supervisors and managers can see any kind of comments that you make. Okay. So because I don't have anything to add for my specific certification, I'm going to certify previous inspection. Excuse me. So this here is going to prompt you at some point in time. Our system is super smart when it comes to going on duty and off duty and all that kind of stuff. And based off of my rule set, which is the Canada 7-day cycle 1, I logged in earlier and went on duty and then went back off duty. And then now it's saying that if I try to log in, it's going to then put me back onto duty. And I've only had 6 minutes of break time. Okay. Which for training purposes, we want to go ahead and say yes. Now, keep in mind, because of the 7-day cycle 1, you are supposed to have a minimum of 2 30-minute long breaks during your day. And the system, again, is super smart that even if you were taking 29 minutes and 58 seconds or 59 seconds, it would still prompt you to say you haven't done your full 30 minutes yet. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you are doing your logs. So for training purposes, I'm going to hit yes. Okay, and I've automatically been placed on duty, which is perfect. Okay, now there is a new section here that gives us a option for defect list. The one that we're going to be focusing on today is the default vehicle defect list. But inside of GoGPS's database, we do have a lot of different other ones that we play around with. But again, we're going to work on just the default one. This defect list covers parking brakes, service brakes, coupling devices, all the way down to windshield wipers. Okay. Now, the difference between doing an inspection through the Drive app versus doing it manually is that you only have to mark something off if there is a defect. Okay, so unlike your manual logs where you'd have to check everything off and then sign at the bottom, this here you're only going to check something if there's a defect. So, for an example, if there was an issue with the horn, you could click the horn tab and then choose one of the options. Okay, so if there is an issue, I'm going to just put inoperable air horn. And then you have to make a remark. It will not let you continue on to the next step until you make a comment. So I could just say, doesn't work. Okay. No, spell things right. Doesn't work. I could then finish off the rest of my inspection. I'd have to choose, if it's a pre or post trip. Mine's going to be a pre-trip. And then I have to add additional remarks. So again, anytime you make any kind of comments or remarks or annotations inside the system, it all saves inside of the app, but as well as goes through the cloud and to your software so that your administrators and supervisors can review the data. Okay. So I'm just going to scroll back up here. I don't have a problem with my horn and I don't want to have any false readings. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove those options. Okay. So I'm just going to show you again. If there was a problem, you would click on the name of what the problem is. You'd add a remark. And then if you click on it by accident, you can always click it off and then it removes it. Okay, so I have no problems with my vehicle. There are no defects. So I'm just going to scroll down here. I make sure I choose my inspection type. I don't have any remarks to add, so that's good. And then I'm just going to hit no defects. All right. So same as what you would do with your paper logs for your DVIR, you would have to sign at the bottom of your logs. This is the same thing. This is your electronic signature. Okay, so this vehicle was inspected in compliance with regional and or federal regulations. So I'm going to say yes. Okay, perfect. So I do want to say, as a new driver using the Drive app, it will take a couple tries for you to get comfortable on how to use the system. This here is going to pop up if you have any upcoming violations or if you have violations. So I know for a fact that I have forgotten to log out of the system, which is why I'm being prompted those violations. And it's actually kind of good for me to be able to show you this because it will happen from time to time, and I'm going to show you how to correct those issues. Okay. So the main page that we're looking at right now is our dashboard. It has things for hours of service, DVIR, messages, okay, as well as there's some optional ones down below here. These are just for GoGPS. These are not things that you're going to see, again, because we do a lot of testing. These are what we're having here in the system. It says the name of my vehicle, inspection, and settings. Okay, so we're going to start at the top left corner and kind of make our way through. So I'm going to start with the hours of service. I'm going to click on this button, and it's going to prompt me and show me my cycle information. Okay, so it shows me that I have 0 time left. So I have 0 drive time, duty time, work left. Like I have zeros across the board, and I know why. But this might be something that your drivers don't know, and this is a good way to actually train them. So we're seeing here that I have no time left. I'm currently on duty. That's great. So if your driver hops in the vehicle after doing their DVIR and notice that they have no time left, they should go over to the log button at the top right of the screen, click the logs, and see what's causing the problem. Okay. So I know for a fact that I did not log out at the end of my day on September 25th. Okay, so I arrived at my home at 7:26 p.m. and I did not log myself off duty or log out of the app. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add a log into the system right now to correct the issue. Now, I want to say while I'm doing that, the only logs that you cannot change in here are automatic logs, just like when we were doing the DVIR, how we automatically got prompted onto on duty. You cannot change any of those logs or any drive logs. Okay. Your app is also synced up when you select the vehicle. It syncs up also with the GPS unit that's installed inside the vehicle, so it all works together as one cohesive unit. Okay. So I'm just going to do September 25th at 7:27 p.m. Okay. So to add a log to kind of clear up, my rules that are being broken here. Okay. I'm going to go up to the top here. In the very top corner on the right, you're going to hit the plus button, and you're going to go ahead and add a log to change my status. So I'm going to make sure that I want to choose the off status. Okay. I'm going to select the date. So it would have been September 25th at 7:27 p.m. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 27 p.m. I'm going to hit done. And I want to make sure it says for my vehicle, which is perfect. It should automatically choose the vehicle that you're assigned to right now. If it doesn't, you can hit select and then same sort of thing. It'll give you a list of vehicles. We're going to leave it as my vehicle because this is the one that we want to use it for. And then you have to add an annotation. So this one here, I forgot to log out. Okay. Once you're done putting in that information, you're going to hit add. And it's going to update your logs. So see how there's no more rules that are being broken now. There's no more violations. I'm not in any kind of situation to have any rules being broken, which is great. So it looks like, as I mentioned, I forgot to log out at 7:26 when I got home. So I added in that log, and then I went back on to drive this morning at 7:34 a.m. and then drove into the office. Okay, perfect. All right. So these are all of the logs that are going to be able to show inside of your system here. You only get so many days depending on your rule set. It could be anywhere between 7 and 14 days. It all depends. So this is our logs, and that's what they look like. If we want to take a look at the graph that's in the system, we can also do that. So if I hit the graph button at the top center of the screen, it'll show me my logs broken down into the graph portion. So we can see that there are some unverified logs, some edited logs, which are the ones that I just did. I can go back a few days. Now, I want to point out to you something here that's super important. I'm going to go all the way back to the 14th. So I have a violation here on the 14th, and I know that this is true, and there's nothing that I can do about it. So if I hop to the 13th, we can see that I was off duty for a bit. I drove for some. I was on duty for 8 hours and 47 minutes. I did a bunch of more driving. I went back off duty. Now, because of my specific rule set, I had to have a consecutive amount of hours in a row off duty. Well, I did not have that. I only had 5 hours and I think it's 10 minutes off duty, which caused me to be in violation when I went back into drive status. I think it was like 12:30 in the morning for a half an hour. Okay, so because there is a violation, that's what it's going to show me here. Okay, so I want you to remember that when we go ahead to go to the inspection, because the inspections, when you hand your phone or your tablet over to the inspector, it is not going to show them that violation. It is only just going to show them the logs that you have here in your graph format, as well as your list of logs. Okay, so we're going to get to that in a few seconds here. The last tab at the top corner here we have is options, and it just gives us the information of the current driver, the time zone, the home terminal, which is Go GPS, which rule set cycle I have myself assigned to, which is the Canada 7-day cycle 1. My start of day starts at 12 a.m., and then inspection mode has been moved to dashboard. Okay, so we're actually going to go back to the dashboard anyways really quickly, so that I can show you what happens when you change your statuses, or like how changing of statuses works. So if I go back to the dashboard, it gives me my hours of service, my DVIR, all these other tabs in here. I'm going to click on hours of service again. So now that I've adjusted my logs, it will show me how much actual drive time, duty time, work time, how much time I have left in all of these options. Okay. Now, once I've done my DVIR, I've updated my logs so I have my proper amount of time. And if you don't have any logs to adjust, you can just skip that part. There's nothing that you're going to need to do. So once you get in the vehicle and you go to start to drive, you do not have to touch any of these buttons until you go and take a break. So you're going to go off duty, do your 30-minute or longer break, and then you're going to go ahead and go back to on duty. Okay. When you start to drive, the system will sync up with the app because, again, it's all working in one cohesive system. It's going from the drive app to the cloud to the system with the GPS information. It's all linking it together. So it's going to automatically trigger it to kick you over into drive, and it will sync up the information. Okay, so you do not have to touch any of these buttons, again, unless you're going off duty. Okay, so I'm going to do that here again. I'm going to click off duty. I'm going to take a little break, and you're going to see now it's been adjusted saying my restoration, right? My restoration is sitting at 0 minutes because I need to continue to take a break. And it is showing me that a rest is required. Okay, perfect. So also in this section here, we can view the cycle recap. So it just gives us a breakdown of cycle available for tomorrow, and then what I have currently for today, as well as view exemptions. So exemptions are things like adverse driving conditions, off-duty deferrals, yard moves, and personal conveyance. Now, the top two you're going to have no matter what. The bottom two are definitely optional based off of the company that you work for. They do not have to give you yard move or personal conveyance. It's completely up to them of what they would like to use. Okay, so the thing with all of these exemptions, you have to make sure that you're hitting to apply or start before you start to drive. I mean, adverse conditions, if it happens and you're in the middle of the highway and there's a huge snowstorm and you need a little bit of time to be able to get to where you have to go, you can choose to apply to today. Okay, same thing with the off-duty deferral. As for yard move, you have to hit the start button and then you can go ahead and drive. Once you put the vehicle in park and or turn the ignition off, it will then stop the yard move or personal conveyance. And then if you go to move the vehicle again, you have to make sure that you turn it on again. Okay. If not, it will go ahead and use that drive time and on duty for the previous person who was assigned to the vehicle. And we don't want that. Okay. So that covers up the status for the HOS, same thing with the graph, the logs, and the options. So I'm going to go back to the top left corner here and go to my dashboard. And we're going to show you what an inspection looks like. So if you're going and you're driving along and you have an inspection that's coming up, you're going to pull over, put your vehicle in park, turn off the vehicle, and then you're going to hit the inspection button here on your smartphone or tablet. And you're going to hand this over to your inspector. So your officer will then ask you if they want your logs. They will have to ask you for your point of contact, and you will provide either your administrator or your supervisor's email and phone number, and the officer will get in contact with them, and your team in the office, your administrators or supervisors will be trained on how to submit that information to the officer. Okay. So while we're in inspection mode, they have the HOS logs they can look at as well as the DVIR. So for the HOS logs, they're going to hit the compliance print, and it's going to show them, the recorded date, the current date, all the information, and all of the stuff here that you're seeing is all done on the back end. So, your vehicle, your VIN number for the vehicle, the odometer, the current location, all that stuff is all done on the back end. If I scroll down, this is where they're going to see those logs. Okay, so they're going to see the graph and then the appropriate logs that go with it. Now, remember how I said that I had a violation on the 13th? I'm going to go back. I think I might be able to get back to the 14th. I'll give it a second here. I think I might have froze it. Sorry, guys. Okay. So while this loads, I'm just gonna kind of ramble on. When we get back to the 13th or 14th, as long as it allows me to go back that far, because again, your inspector can only go back. I think it is a maximum of 14 days. So let's see if we can get back to the 14th. There we go. So we're sitting at the 14th. If I scroll down here to where that chart is, you're going to see that there's no violations. Okay. And the reason for that is like the app is not here to hand over your violations on a silver platter to the inspector. It is up to them to go through your logs and figure out if you are in violation and then go from there. Okay. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. All right. Once they're done taking a look at your logs for your ELD for the HOS, they then can hit the back button and choose your DVIR. They can see, the name of the vehicle, the last date and time it was inspected. They can review your inspection. Okay, so they can see all that information that we chatted about before. They can see that there's no defects. And then some of the inspectors actually like to see what kind of defect list you're looking at when you do your inspection. So they can see that too by hitting the view button and taking a look at all of these items here. Okay, so just keep in mind that they can't make any alterations. They can't add, proper spraying or improper wiping, that kind of stuff. They cannot change your DVIR that you've completed. They're just looking at what has been completed. Okay, so when they're done, they're going to hit the back button and then they're going to hit the exit button at the top right hand corner. And then they're going to hand back your smartphone or tablet to you. You can then hit continue because you are going to be exiting the inspection mode, and then you can be on your way. Okay. So that covers for the most part everything here on the dashboard. The only thing that we will take a look at right now, which is super important, is how to log out properly. But before we do that, it's sort of in the same sort of section. I want to show you that you can add another driver or two to your logs. So you can have a tandem team of up to 3. That's including the driver and 2 others. Okay. So to see what kind of drivers are assigned or what kind of users are assigned, the top right-hand corner where you can see your name, you're going to click on that, and it's going to give you a little steering wheel beside the user who's currently, going to be the driver. Then it has add driver. So if I click that, it'll ask me for a username and password. So your secondary driver would go ahead and add themselves there, and they would either go on duty, off duty, or sleeper berth, whichever works best for them. And then from there, when your time is done as a first driver, you can then switch over to the secondary driver and let them go on. And then again, same thing. If you have a third driver, you could do that with them too. Okay. So I'm not going to touch too much into that, but I'm going to go ahead and show you what you need to do at the end of each of your day. So it doesn't matter when the end of your day is. If you're done at 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning, you're going to hit the off duty button, which I'm currently off duty, which is perfect. And then I'm going to hit the log out button. Okay. It's then going to prompt me to say, you have unverified logs. Do you want to verify them before proceeding? I do. So you want to make sure that all of these logs belong to yourself. You're going to scroll down and select verify all days. Again, this is another, I hereby certify that all my data entries and my records of duty status for each listed 24-hour period are true and correct. I'm going to go ahead and say agree, and then it's going to log me out of the app. Okay. So again, it holds the information in the system here. You can log in at any point in time to do a DVIR for your vehicles. If you have any questions, your supervisors and administrators are also going to be trained on this as well. So you can always feel free to contact themselves, as well as there's my email address. You can contact me and I can help you with any of your questions. Okay, so that sums it up for me today. So I hope everybody has a great day. And yeah, that's it.